Good morning, everyone. Jeanette Biro here. I'm a medium and a channeler, and welcome to your weekday daily card reading where we dive into the cards and see what's in store with a message from Spirit. I am back at my parents' house in their beautiful backyard again. Now, interesting enough, this is quite funny. If you could have seen what was happening just minutes ago, you would have all chuckled a little bit. So, Spirit had asked me to use this deck again, and normally I switch up decks every week, sometimes spirit-driven, sometimes what I just feel drawn to. But they said, use this one more time. And so I was like, okay, sure, no problem. And so as I was coming out here, they said, consider where many of you are at right now is under the starry night. And I said, okay, what does that mean? And they said, the starry night. In the starry night, you will know that it always gets darkest before the dawn. And so this experience that we're in right now with still this fast-paced movement, in many cases, has a darkness to it as well. We can see the lights of the stars kind of like guiding the path of the ships, so to speak. But there is a darkness. And they said, remember that the darkness comes, it gets darkest just before dawn. And so I thought that was really interesting, especially connecting to the podcast today. It is directly correlated to this. So the podcast today is all about fire and the phoenix within. And so I really recommend all of you check out the podcast. It was a channeled message. Spirit had me sit down and do it. So it definitely will continue on from this message. So Spirit was telling me that. I was getting my stuff together and I ended up having several cards fly out of the deck. And I went to pick them up just to throw them back in the deck, and Spirit was like, stop. Those are the cards. This is why we wanted you to use this deck. So it makes a lot of sense and it is very specific. All right, so we're going to dive in. First card is the movement card. Now, we saw this last week. There is a lot of movement. That is the energy of this month, of Leo season, of the fire element, all of that movement. So we are in rapid changes, rapid occurrences, rapid things, right? There's a lot happening and a lot of movement. That is essentially the element of fire. But there's purpose in it. Now, for many, and again, I'm going to be very gentle how I touch on this. For many, there is an experience of death, okay? Now, please look at this card as what it represents, the ending of something to make a beginning of something else. So in many cases, a lot of people have been experiencing physical death. There has been a lot happening in the world right now. There has been physical death. But for many, there's even more this death of a life they knew, death of a way of being, death of what once was secure has now been shifted. Now, that is where a lot of the podcast actually talks about. So it's really interesting because Spirit said, do the podcast, then do the cards. So I'm not surprised these cards come out. Death allows for an ability to be reborn, and that's a really significant thing. This ability to be reborn allows us to be renewed, and so although we are in this very, very significant energy of movement, there is an ending and a beginning, and that's why Spirit said, remember, it gets darkest before the dawn. And the starry night, you know what's really funny? So as I'm holding up these cards to you, I'll use this movement card, right? That's the front of it. But the back of the card has these stars. I never noticed that. That is amazing. Sitting under the starry night with essentially an Ace of Cups, which is a new beginning. I find that very timely. Very, very timely. Anyway, so with the movement and the endings of beginnings, there is a heightened energy of transformation. So the next card we have is the Merlin card, and we had this last week as well. And trust me, I've used these cards a lot. They have been shuffled like no other. The Merlin talks about alchemy, transformation. Phoenixes are involved in alchemy, the final aspect of transformation when one thing is transformed from one element into another. It is where the magic is. It is where the universe steps in to help create something new, where the universe has your back, where oftentimes Merlin knows his magic, but the dragon is represented by the universal forces. Right? So there is a lot working behind the scenes in this deep, deep, profound time of transformation. Now, within this energy of the Merlin, things can go two ways. And it's really up to your frequency of which way it goes for you. right? Remember, what happens for you energetically happens for the collective. And the two ways that that happens is either goes in the direction of either love or towards the energy of the wasp. Okay, now I have nothing against wasps. This is just the energy of how this card is explained. And this says anger, retaliation, and jealousy. The wasps, they sting, right? They're going after something, and in this card symbolically, they're doing so with anger and retaliation. So we can either take this energy of transformation, of death within this movement and respond in anger. It doesn't mean we can't be angry, but we have to respond from a place of like sturdiness, right? We can either respond in anger and retaliation, which is a different frequency, or we can respond in an energy of love. Now, I don't mean that we respond in an energy of just like, yay, everything is fine. I'm not feeling sad. I'm not hurt. It's not that, because that's not reality. That's not being real with your emotions. If you're angry, express your anger, but do so in a way with consciousness, right? We can be angry, and instead of going, and again, very general explanation here, instead of beating somebody up, we can instead go to the gym, hit a punching bag until we are completely exhausted, and then think about what we really want to do. Where is our time valuable? Get the emotional part out of it, come back to thinking consciously, and then create an action from there. And then if we create that action from a place of self-love or love for those around us, we have greater capacity to transform our reality, our energy, our healing, and the ripples that that creates into the world. So within this energy, we are potent creators, and Spirit has been talking about this over and over and over. Our ability to create right now is exquisite. And again, that's represented by the Merlin card. We are co-creators, and we have an opportunity right now to be creating within the path of the wasp or creating within the path of love, higher consciousness frequency. And it is hard to choose sometimes that path when we're presented with chaos, destruction, and the death of either those around us or a way of life or a way of thinking, a way of being. So this is hard energy. This is fire energy right now. But I love how Spirit literally planned this all out in terms of the channeled message on the podcast, using these specific cards, which I didn't even realize had a starry night on it, and then literally knocking these cards out of my hand. I wish somehow there was a camera that was following me at that moment, because you could have seen how divine it was. And that these cards didn't fall down the slats of my parents' deck too. So again, very, very significant times right now of conscious choice. Your conscious choice has a huge ripple effect in the universe, in your community, in your family, in your energy right now, because of this potent energy within Leo season. So as much as you can, try and return to an energy of love, even if it's love for self in that moment. Calm your energy and choose consciously where to best direct your powerful creative energy, whether that's standing up for something you believe in, creating a new initiative, healing something else, releasing something, forgiving something, whatever it is. This movement and endings is opening beautiful new beginnings, and what you do has a big impact on what comes from it. So, wow, I will leave that with all of you for now. Happy Monday, everyone. Check out the podcast for sure. And I so look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow. And I do want to say on Wednesday, I'm hosting Cosmic Consciousness Circle, and we're going to be talking all about fires, floods, earthquakes, extreme weather, Gaia's ability to transform, purge, all of that. And there's some very interesting information that was given to me from the earth about all of that. So if that's interesting to you, check it out, avalonspirit.com under Cosmic Consciousness Circle. And if you also want to stay up to date with everything that's happening, in case I forget to mention it on these videos, you can sign up for our list at avalonspirit.com. All right, have a beautiful day, everyone. Happy Monday. I'll see you all tomorrow.